Hi guys, what a beautiful place to sit and do some sharpening of my tools. Being watched by a herd of cows. Beautiful. Anyway, we're going to be sharpening an axe and knives tonight. So I'm going to be using my Japanese sharpening stones. Various grits here. So 400 there is the coarse. 1000 is a medium. 3000 is fine, and the 8000 is for polishing. Some shoe polish there, oil and some linseed oil, a rag and a complimentary cup of tea. Right, let's get going. Hi guys, this evening I'm going to be sharpening the axe, and I'm going to be sharpening a couple of knives, different styles. A couple of the more training knives and one of my old British Army issue knives. So as I said, I've got my sharpening stones here with various grits, going from coarse up to the polishing stone. And these come with nice little rubber mats, anti-slip mats, so I can work on them. A couple of shoe brushes and some brown polish when I come to polish the sheath. Oil for the head and linseed oil for the handle, and just a rag. Got a tub of water here, so the first thing I'm going to do, just watching the cows here, is I'm going to soak my stones for a few minutes. Okay, so the stones have been soaking now for about 5 minutes. Nice and wet. So what we're going to do, put the rubber foot back on, keep the stone wet, take the sheath off at the last minute. Okay, so what I want to do is, you can use the round stones for axes. I prefer to use the straight stones, it gives me a better direction to work with. So what I want to do is keep the nice angle on the blade, not too sharp, not too high, not too low. I want to do 10 strokes away from me, 10 strokes back, 10 strokes alternate. Then I'll do that on the coarse one first. So keep my fingers there as a guide. I'm going to go from corner to corner across the stone. Like that. Six, 7, 8, 9, 10. This grey line here, you can see that there's the slurry left. And that's actually dirt and bits of metal I'm taking off the blade with the coarsest stone. Okay, just going to wet the stone a bit more. Always keep it wet. Now what I'm going to do is the other side of the blade. Exactly the same, from corner to corner. Working away nicely. Just as I was a minute ago. Apply medium pressure. I want to be able to feel the stone, but ultimately I don't want to dig into the stone. I don't just want to tickle across it. So that's 10 in a forward direction on both sides. Okay, so now I've turned the stone over. I'm down to the 1000, ready to work. I like to keep the stone 90 degrees to me working away. Some people work crossways, diagonals. I like to work away, keep the stone wet, and I find I get a much better movement pattern. So what I'm going to do now is I'm going to repeat the pattern 10 forward, 10 back, 10 alternating on the 1000, the 3000, and I'll come back and show you the polishing on the 8000. Okay, so it takes a little bit of time. So I've now gone through the different grits, the coarse, the medium, the fine. I'm now on the 8000, the polishing stone. So again, keep it nice and wet. Bit of water on the blade, and exactly the same process. 10 forward each side, 10 backwards, 10 alternating. You can see on this one I'm getting much more black line. It's taking a lot more off now, cleaning the blade right up. Beautiful. You can either work that way or that way. It's entirely up to yourself. One or the other. Okay, so that's 10 forward. I'm now going to do 10 back, 10 alternate, and then we'll show you the next step. Okay, so that's all the grits done. Now what I'm going to do, wet my finger, get some of this slurry off the top. You can get little slurry stones, your finger's just as good. Then literally, carefully, just going to polish it up to the edge of the blade there. Take out both sides. Okay. And now you can see I've got a lovely edged beveled edge there. Perfect. Okay, I'm going to dry this up and I'll show you what we do with the rest of the axe on its maintenance. Join me soon. So I've just tied it up, dried up a little bit, dried the axe. So I've done the edge of the blade. I've now got the head to do, the shaft, the handle, the wooden bit. So what I've got here is some gun oil and some linseed oil. Then all I'm going to simply do is put some all over the metal part there. The important thing about this is don't wipe the oil off. Let it dry naturally. Prevent it from rusting in damp conditions if you're out on a canoe trip or if you're out in the woodland in the winter damp. A rusty head is no good. So let that dry naturally. Linseed oil now. Nothing special, shop bought. Put a nice amount on the rag. I'm simply going to go up and down the head here. Don't forget the top. Now this bit I do wipe in, just so it's not too slippy slimy. Now what I have done in the past with the wood is over time, if it gets too grubby, mucky, dirty, I get some sandpaper, a fine grit, Just take the top off the wood and re-oil it there. Looks much better, look new and fresh. What I'm also doing when I'm checking and cleaning this is looking for any damage, any splits in the wood around the handle, around the base, the integrity of the handle. Up the top here where the pin goes in to join it, it splits into the head. Checking that's not split or cracked. Looking round, I'm also checking the head itself. Now I've got a couple of chinks and dents there where I've used it as a hammer, 10 pegs and stuff. But the blade itself, when you're polishing it, you take all those imperfections out. I'm checking all that, I'm checking it's not bent, damaged, deformed in any way. And that's a beautiful axe ready to go. So I'm going to let that dry now and show you the next step. Right guys, the final piece. We've done the sharpening, the axe, the oiling, the check to make sure it's safe to use. Sorry, there's a bird's nest behind me. I can just hear them. The last piece now is the sheath, the scabbard, the leather blade protector. What I'm checking on this is a series of rivets, making sure they're okay both sides. Some have some stitching like a leather belt. If it had stitching, I would check that. This doesn't. So I'm checking those. Inside, I'm checking the belt loop isn't loose, it's not going to snap, and the popper is connected both sides and it fastens and holds. Okay, I know it's safe, and just that aesthetic pleasingness. What I'm going to do now is a little bit of brown shoe polish. This is my grandfather's military issue brush. It's been me all over the world in my service. Done my shoes for many weddings, my wedding, many interviews. Love it. And now it does my polishing. Nothing too major, it's not for ceremonial use. Simple as that. So my scabbard is now ready to go back on the axe. Once the blade is dry, I then store that out of the way safe, from harm's reach, from children, people who don't want to get hold of it, ready for my next trip. I'm going to look at the knife next, but that is how you sharpen and care for an axe. Fantastic. Go very quickly. It's now looking at my knives. You can get fancy knives, Rambo knives, big knives. I find that 9 times out of 10 that is more than enough. That's my old army issue knife. It's enough to cut string, cordage, open your ration pack, free yourself from something. And it's also got a little bottle opener on there. And I've got 2 of these, which are more of a training knives. Very slightly different blade lengths, very slightly. I find these are fantastic. They come with, some people don't like them, but they come with plastic scabbards, which I find is great because they're hardware and durable. Little belt clip there. But what I like about these knives is the grip, the handle, the way they work, the way they feel. And I've got 2, so I have one for clean stuff, so woodwork, crafting, things like that, and I have one for dirty stuff. So if I'm cutting through meat, obviously I clean it in between uses, but if I use it for meat, fungi, mushrooms, things like that. So I try not to contaminate the blade between too much. So yeah, one's clean, one's dirty. Both blades I keep the same. The edge of the blade, you can see there, like you can tell, that one's a lot shinier than that one, but they are the same age. So all I'm going to do with this is exactly the same as what I did with the axe. Go through the grits, forward stroke, backward stroke. The only difference being with the knives, I will show you quickly. Just get the coarse one out. So with the axe you can use a round stone, or as I've done there. But with the axe I don't want it to be a complete blade, I want that slight bevel on the edge, whereas a knife has got a much finer point. So when it comes to the knife, as I say, I'm going to go forwards, backwards, alternate. But what I'm going to do is sit the blade on the stone and then tilt it forward so I can feel the edge. I'll zoom in on that so the blade is flat on the block, just tilting it ever so slightly until you get this nice bevel flat. That's the bit I'm going to work with. So the axe is broader, wider, this is more fine point. So with this, again, just tilt it till you feel it. 1, 2, working away. Yep, feel it, working away. All the way to the tip in the corner. Away. 1. And just so I don't bore you, I'm going to go forwards, back, I'm going to go from the very edge, tilt it, thumb for pressure, bring it down. 1, bring it down, bring it down. Yep, forwards, backwards. 10, 10, 10 alternate, and then polish. I'm going to come back at the end and I've done all 3. See you shortly. Oh, the sunset's beautiful now, fantastic. So I've done the military knife. It's got a very fine edge. Doesn't need a lot of work, it's only 2 inches long. So I'm now working on these 2. So I've gone through all the grits, I'm on to the last one now. So, bear with me a second, I'm going to run you through both of these. Nice and quick, 10 each way, 10 alternate. Yeah, let's see how they turn out. Always keep the blade and stone wet. Again, remember the edge. It's important when you push, keep your fingers at the top of the blade. What you don't want to do is slip, cut your finger. So at the top, push. When you're coming towards yourself, use your thumb. And now alternate. And just to confirm, it's 7, 7, 8, 8, 9, 9, 10, 10. The same with the axe, a little bit of the slurry. Watch your fingers on the edge, just clean that up. Very quickly, I'm going to go through this one. It's exactly the same, fingers away. Try and go from right up the handle to the very tip. Cool, and again, exactly the same. So that's the stones finished with. As I say, the military knife's done. What I'm going to do now, dry these off. Don't need to do nothing with the handles. Sorry, the sun's right in my eyes now. They're rubber handles, they'll just dry. With the knife, I'm not going to oil it this time. I use it a lot more than the axe. It's for finer work, and I find they don't rust as much. So I'm not going to oil that because it goes round food and stuff, whereas the axe I don't really tend to cook food that much. Right, just going to clean up and show you the final bit of the vid. Thank you guys. And then there's one final test to make sure that you've done this job perfect. Scrap piece of paper. Now, we'll see. Does it cut? No, I'm joking. I'm happy with that one. Paper split, but yeah, that one. Does the axe cut? I'm happy with that. Yeah. So if these tools are sharp enough to cut paper, I'm happy that they will cut what I need to cut out in the wilds of the UK, in Snowdonia, the woodland, or maybe further afield. So thank you guys. That's how you sharpen a knife, sharpen an axe. You care for them. Different knives. All these tools have different care methods. Obviously, the axe has a wooden handle. These have rubber. The army issue one has a metal handle. That one does get a bit of oil. So all I'll do now is I pack these away safe, ready for my next trip. So yeah, I was hoping to film this in the woodland for you, but I just thought, seeing as how it's a beautiful sunset tonight, I was going to get out and do it right now. Thank you very much for watching. Look after your tools. Take care.